We want to create positive solutions for that chemical waste to make sure that it isn't going into the land in Tallassee, the Tallapoosa River, which then feeds drinking water to Talladega, Alabama.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We've got our next guest on the line. Matt Fullone is an organizer with Jobs to Move America. Matt, welcome to the program.
Adam, how's it going? How are you today?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And I want to start with just a really basic question that's going to set up the rest of this conversation, which is, what is a community benefits agreement?
Well, that's a great question, Adam. So a community benefits agreement is a legally enforceable agreement between private companies and coalitions of community and labor groups. Community benefits agreements are used to ensure a wide range of high road job standards, community benefits, environmental mitigations, and equity measures. So they're the fact that they are legally enforceable and not just something that a company can ignore or avoid in the future is what makes them so powerful.
Awesome. And do you have examples of where those have been used around the country or even here in Alabama?
I do. Yeah. So they've been used for major development projects across the United States at this point. So projects like, if you're familiar, there's a new Major League Soccer stadium being constructed in Nashville, Tennessee. That one is being done under a community benefits agreement. Airport expansions like at LAX, large real estate developments. They've also been used for solar and offshore wind farms. Facebook even used a CBA for an office expansion in California. So they're increasingly being mandated for projects receiving public funding or subsidies at local, state, and even federal levels. There is an important distinction, though, that I need to mention. So not all community benefit agreements are real. So not all of them are negotiated with the coalition on one side of the table and the company on the other. A real CBA, a CBA like the ones that Jobs to Move America are when two sides really negotiate. So not everyone gets exactly what they want, but if the coalition stays firm, they can win real advances for job quality and equity measures. So one community benefit agreement in Alabama was for a company in Anniston, Alabama. Company that makes electric buses called New Flyer. So we negotiated a CBA with them in 2022. So one of the problems with New Flyer was they had a real lack of opportunity for historically disadvantaged people, folks with records, Black voters, women workers, folks with a barrier to getting a job, So in the CBA, they agreed to, with Jobs to Move America, they agreed to 45% of all new hires being from historically disadvantaged groups. So a huge gain for the people in that community. They also agreed to ban the box. So if you're not familiar with what that is, they were no longer going to ask if you were a felon or if you had been arrested or convicted of a felony on their employment applications. They also agreed to better safety training. They agreed to start a pre-apprenticeship program to help all workers advance. When it comes to what we were able to accomplish with New Flyer, things might be a little bit different with Neptune. The problems might be a little bit different. So the CBA might be different. So we hope to address those specific concerns.
Gotcha. And can you tell me a little bit more about the coalition? Who's involved, what are the goals, and, obviously the name of the coalition?
Absolutely. So the name of our coalition is called Good Neighbors Alabama. So the coalition is composed of labor groups, advocacy groups, community organizations, and they all share a commitment to building a stronger and more just Alabama. So the members of our coalition are Alabama Arise, Alabama Possible, A Better Balance, Conservation Alabama, Faith in Action Alabama, Greater Birmingham Ministries, the NAACP, North Alabama Area Labor Council, and United Fair Economy. So for this year, Good Neighbors Alabama, the goal for this year is to continue to work towards a community benefits agreement with Neptune. And then, of course, to continue to fight for clean air, water, racial justice, fair wages, safe working conditions, and the right to organize without fear or retaliation.
Yeah, so that touches on a bit about the report that you released this week. What motivated JMA to focus on Neptune and Tallassee for this report?
So the first thing is, everybody on this team, we're all Alabamians, and we care about our neighbors. We want all the big corporations in our state to be good neighbors too. Neptune is a company making water infrastructure products, water meters, which creates a public good, clean drinking water, to communities and to towns and cities all over the country. At JMA, our motto is public goods for the most public good, which means we want to see the creation of those public goods lead to benefits in the places where those products are manufactured, like Tallassee. So good jobs, a clean environment, high road behaviors. With Neptune in particular, a significant amount of the workers that we've spoken with have given their stories about what it's like to work there at Neptune. So they have a significant amount of the workers have described long hours. On average, they're working 55 to 75 hours every week, which of course takes them away from their families and leaves their bodies tired. I spoke to a worker who's been there for 30 plus years. And when I asked him what he would do if they weren't working as many hours as they were, with a tear in his eye, he said, spend more time watching my kids grow up. Obviously, that's a huge issue. Another issue that most workers brought up at Neptune was unfair treatment in some shape or form, whether it's favoritism, inconsistent discipline, racism, sexism. Nearly 70% of the workers that we spoke with at Neptune reported experiencing or witnessing unfair treatment. One worker that I spoke with told me she was told when she was asking about a promotion, and quote, it's a man's world. So those are the things that some of the workers are dealing with. I mean, there's also some other significant issues. When it comes to wages, there's a very flat wage growth for the people who have been there the longest. We've spoken with some people that have been there 30, 40 years. And when you take into account inflation, their buying power, their wages, they're making less money than they were 20 years ago. Wage gaps due to occupational segregation leave some workers making less because they don't have the ability for promotion within the facility. Serious injuries are another huge issue at that facility. So with all of these issues we've discovered while speaking with their workers, we've come up with a clear list of recommendations for Neptune based on the findings of the report. It's very important to us, and we feel very important to the community of Tallassee as well. So within our letter to them from the coalition, we've made some pretty serious recommendations. We hope to negotiate ambitious and measurable hiring and promotion goals to ensure people with historically disadvantaged groups are offered jobs and, most importantly, opportunities for promotion, commitments to new and accessible in-house training, a joint initiative to grow next generation of factory leadership in highly paid positions so they do have the ability to be promoted from within, commitments to allow workers to speak freely amongst themselves with representatives of nonprofit organizations without fear. That is something that we find very important right there. A lot of the workers that we have spoken with almost to the T, have described a culture of fear within the facility that leaves them without the ability to suggest alternatives or suggest ways to make things better, to suggest being able to coordinate with their coworkers to try to bring change to that facility. All of them say they have fear when it comes to those types of things. We've also recommended a commitment to allow employees to attend training sessions conducted on site to increase OSHA 10 and OSHA 30 authorized workers. And then, of course, when it comes to the environmental aspect of what they do, commitments to adopt industry best practices for the disposal of toxic wastes that are measurable and enforceable. We ask for all of these things because we know CBAs lead to fairer local economies, safer workplaces, better environmental stewardship, and respect and dignity for the workers and their neighbors.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. There was a lot to process. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to hear a little bit more about is the environmental section, and you touched on it there in terms of the recommendation. But could you talk a little bit more about what's going on with the environmental impact there?
Yeah, sure. So, and I got to be real careful here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want you to say anything you shouldn't say, but maybe speak to kind of the regulation and the how it's supposed to work in theory, right? Like, in theory, companies are supposed to play by certain rules, and they're not supposed to do anything that would be harmful to the community. Is there a lot of regulation in the state of Alabama for toxic disposal practices? Like, is that something that we run into, or is it more like we're hoping to address issues through the CBA process?
Yeah, it's more of the latter. So we're hoping to address some of the issues just based on historically what Neptune has done with some of their chemical waste. We've spent a lot of time digging through EPA records, ADEM records, to try to determine where some of their waste is going. We've discovered that although they advertise themselves as a lead-free producer, there are certain years, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but there are certain years where there's significant amounts of lead being produced within that factory and then being dumped outside of that factory. Neptune uses a waste pond directly across the street that isn't necessarily built or made to accept the type of chemical waste that Neptune is producing. So we are trying to work with the state, and we're trying to work with environmental organizations to try to determine, what the process is, what should be done. And we, excuse me. And we also want to work with Neptune to create positive solutions for that chemical waste to make sure that it isn't going into, the land in the area, the land in Tallassee. It's not going into the Tallassee River, which then feeds drinking water to Talladega, Alabama. So
Right.
We just want to make sure that any waste that's being created within the factory is being dealt with properly.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, you can check out that report, and that's at goodneighborsalabama.org. And we'll mention that again if you want to find out a little bit more and dig in a little deeper. But, you mentioned partnering with the company, trying to find a positive approach, trying to find ways to partner for positive solutions. Why are you taking that approach?
So, I mean, we know these issues are serious, and we hope Neptune takes them seriously as well. So we want to stay positive. We hope that Neptune sits down with us and has a straight conversation to come up with, real solutions for the issues identified in this report. We want Tallassee to be as great as it can be. Stop. That's the main concern. And of course, as we've mentioned a couple times, we're also good neighbors of Alabama. So good neighbors should be positive, should treat each other with respect, and should work together on solutions affecting both sides.
That's right. Yeah. And I think, it is only natural that we expect large employers and big companies in our communities to be good neighbors and to, as you said, give the town the opportunity to thrive and to be the best it can be.
So Monday was a big day for the campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what's next?
Monday was a very big day for the campaign. So there were a couple different things that the coalition did on that day. Most importantly is we, as good neighbors do, walked up to the front door of the Neptune facility in Tallassee and asked if we could speak with the person in charge, as good neighbors would do. So we walked up to the door, we knocked, a representative from Neptune came out and asked us what we were doing. We explained that we would like to speak with the man in charge, the person in charge. She agreed to go get him. And about 15, 20 minutes later, the head person, the head decision maker stationed at the facility in Tallassee came out. Our goal with him was twofold. One, we wanted to deliver the coalition letter that was signed by all the members of the coalition that had the key findings and the recommendations for Neptune. And we also wanted to deliver the report that Jobs to Move America had completed after an exhaustive study of their practices, speaking with close to 100 current and former workers, where they told us their stories of working at Neptune. So the head person in charge came out. We were able to deliver the letter and the report to him directly, which for us is a huge win. So they explained that they would appreciate some time to review the report, but would be willing to meet with us and the coalition to discuss the findings at a later date, which of course is a huge positive for this process. Immediately following that, we went to City Hall of Tallassee and had a brief press conference for local press. We had a few of our coalition members speak, and they were able to outline some of the findings to the press, stuff that they find important. And we also went over some of the recommendations for Neptune as well. So although the leadership at Neptune did agree to meet with us prior to that press conference, it seems like possibly they have begun to tell a different side of that to the press on their own. And they may have sent something different to their workers. But that doesn't change anything for us. For Jobs to Move America, our goal, and we are still focused on finding solutions to the issues outlined in that report, and that is it. We don't want to play the games. We want to find real solutions for the issues outlined in that report.
So if Neptune were to engage in good faith tomorrow, right? This say after, they've gotten this, they've looked over it. Let's say they give the coalition a call tomorrow or Monday. What's the first thing you'd want them to do?
So that might be the easiest answer to the question, any question here today. And it's very simple, and it's going to be the shortest one as well. That's very easy. Take us in a report seriously, sit down at the table, make a plan, put real solutions in place, including a community benefits agreement. It's as simple as that.
And can you tell us a little bit about Neptune's customers and what they are doing in California? I understand that the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is Neptune's largest customer. How do you plan on reaching out to them?
Yeah, so Neptune is a huge supplier of water meters in the United States and also Canada. And LADWP is their largest customer. They're a huge customer, and they even have the potential to become an even bigger customer for Neptune. LADWP, it's the largest public water system in the country. That's a lot of public good, a lot of water infrastructure to be built, and water meters to be bought. So we're working with partners in California to elevate our concerns to places like the LADWP Board of Commissioners. So we believe they should know about these concerns, the cost of doing business with Neptune and not just them, but on Tallassee, Alabama as well, and to investigate for themselves the environmental issues we raise in the report. We believe that their customers should be doing that investigation as well.
So, Matt, was there anything on the horizon that you want to let listeners know about? And are there any ways that folks listening could help?
Yeah, sure. So, when it comes to the report, we are beyond confident that the report was published is fact. We don't know how long it's going to take to persuade Neptune to sit down and negotiate with us. But like we said, we do need Neptune to take this seriously and sit down with us. We know the stories that the Neptune workers have told us is their truth. We know these are real issues that affect the workers, their families, and the city of Tallassee. And I also have to add too, this is not meant to bring Neptune down. Our goal is not to, destroy Neptune or bring it down or ruin their business. That is not our goal. Our goal is to help make it, a stronger, better place to work, where workers feel heard, where workers can go home to their families without injury and spend time with them on the weekends and at night. We want a stronger Neptune because ultimately a stronger Neptune makes a stronger Tallassee, and a stronger Tallassee makes a stronger Alabama. That's our main goal. We are going to continue to try to get Neptune to sit down at the table and negotiate with us. You asked if there's anything people can do. If you are interested, and Adam has said this a couple times, but if you're interested, you can find the full report at goodneighborsalabama.org. You'll also be able to see what Good Neighbors Alabama is all about. But most importantly, you will be able to see the report, all the findings, everything that we did in the study to help persuade Neptune to sit down and negotiate with us and let those workers tell their story. We believe that it's not just Neptune that Neptune workers that are experiencing this. This is happening all over Alabama when it comes to rural manufacturing facilities. So we believe we can change one, we can move to the next, and we can continue to make things better for all workers in Alabama.
Wow, thanks again for being here, Matt, organizer with Jobs to Move America's Southern Program. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we let you go?
No, I think I covered everything. We really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak on your show. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Matt. We really appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch. Keep us posted.
Awesome. Y'all have a great day. Okay.
All right. Take care. You can find more about the Good Neighbors Alabama Coalition by following their page on Facebook, or again, go to goodneighborsalabama.org, where you can find the new report on Neptune and Tallassee. And you can go to jobstomoveamerica.org to find out more about JMA and the cool work they're doing, not just here in Alabama, but across the country.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.